So today, to use two functions, one being the revenue function and one being the cost function. So if you open up, say, a store, and let's say you're selling highlighters. This highlighter has materials that cost money. You need to pay for the thing that makes the outside, the whatever, I guess it would be ink inside. You have to have some sort of machine to carve it and make it look a certain way. And so it costs money to make money. So you have to have all of this stuff just to make this highlighter, and then you could sell it. And so when you're looking at, say, a business and opening up your own business, like if you're opening up a hair salon, well, you need the sinks and the curlers and the shaving things and then the place and the brooms, and then you have to rent maybe for the place, and then you charge so much per haircut. So revenue, this is the money you bring in. And if I'm talking about a hair salon, my M would be how much I charge per haircut. And my X would be how many haircuts I gave. And that would be my revenue. So if I gave 10 haircuts and each haircut cost $10, then I brought in $100 for the day. My cost function consists of things that are variable and a fixed cost. So thinking of the hair salon, my fixed cost would probably be rent, and then there's a lot of variable costs, but just to keep simple, like I pay people to cut hair, so maybe I give them a certain amount per hour. So you have the money you bring in, the money that the cost, how much it costs to bring that money in, and then your profit. Profit, take what you bring in minus what you spent, and that is your profit. So if you have a business, sometimes you're just trying to break even. Anyone know why they call Black Friday Black Friday? So in finances, red is seen as negative and black is seen as positive. So that is the very first day, and most of those companies experience a profit. So they're trying to break even all the way up until Black Friday. And then after Black Friday, that's all their profits. So everything after Thanksgiving is their profit for the year. So that's why they call it Black Friday. So let's do an example. Technology is now promising to bring light, fast, and beautiful wheelchairs to millions of disabled people. Bright, light, fast, and beautiful. Okay? A company is planning to manufacture these new wheelchairs. The fixed cost will be $500,000, and it will cost $400 to produce each wheelchair, and then they'll sell them for $600. So it only costs $400 to make them, but they're going to turn around and sell them for $600. And the big deal is this startup cost for your company. So cost, let's let cost today be orange. So what does it cost? What is my variable cost and my fixed cost? So my cost is contained in that orange. So the fixed cost, they even tell you the fixed cost. So the fixed cost, the B, is $500,000, and it costs $400 per wheelchair. So I would say 400x plus 500,000. Function. Okay. Now my revenue function, that's how much you're selling those wheelchairs for, and you're selling them for 600. So my revenue is 600x, where x is number of wheelchairs sold. So if I sell one wheelchair, my revenue is 600 times 1. I brought in $600. But if I only sell one wheelchair, I spent, my cost would be $400 for the wheelchair plus the 500 grand that I already invested in my business. So when you start off in a business or any kind of company, it's a long time to eventually get rid of that fixed cost and to make your money back. So find the break-even point of the cost and revenue function. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a graph over here. So X is number of wheelchairs sold, so I'll put that here. And then over here, we're producing a cost, we're producing a revenue. So let's just let this be money. Okay. And the way this looks, and when you're doing this, you don't have to be completely exact, but revenue, I'm not going to draw out all the axes, but cost is starting out at 500,000. Let's say that's here. And it's increasing. It's going up 400. So it's going to look something like this. And again, this is a rough sketch. We're not going to, especially with 500,000, we're not going to make 500,000 marks on it. And then the blue one, I don't have a blue pen, but I'll use string, I guess. The red, you sell nothing, you get nothing, but it has a steeper slope, so it's going to be just slightly steeper. By the way, everything I'm doing right now is economics. You guys ever take economics? This is economics. Lucky you have an economics degree. Awesome. So we have our revenue function and we have our cost function. Your revenue function should be steeper than your cost function, or you're never going to offset the money you invested. Now, right here, anything in this area, this is a loss. And then eventually your revenue will equal your cost, and that's what we call our break-even point. And that would be where you finally reach a point where the money you got equals the money you spent. So you made no money, but you have all your money back that you invested. That's called break even. And then, most businesses anyway, the hope is that you have profit. And over here, anything above here would be pure and beautiful profit. So why do they call it Black Friday? Well, here, like around the third week of November, that's when they finally break even, and everything after November is profit, in theory. In a lot of companies, that's not always true, and they never reach their profit, and then maybe they go out of business, like the Toys R Us, right? Any questions so far? So now the question is, what is the break-even point? Well, that would be where my revenue and cost are the same. So when my revenue equals my cost, this will tell me how many wheelchairs I need to sell/produce to break even, to get. Well, the revenue function is 600x. And then my cost function is 400x plus 500k. Need to do some math, and usually your profit and cost function are a little bit more complicated because there are way more variables to a business than just these variables. Okay, minus 400x on both sides. Those cancel. 600 minus 400 is 200. Take 500 grand divided by 200. And that's 2,500. So if this were my business, I would need to sell $2,500 wheelchairs. Now, all that's going on in this math complication is, think about it, you're selling these wheelchairs for $600 each, but they cost $400 each. So you're bringing each. So that's your profit, $200 per wheelchair. So then you take 500,000 divided by 200 per wheelchair, and that will tell you how many wheelchairs you need to sell. So all of this algebra, I'm sure people do without actually writing down word for word. Anyone, you guys understand this? So right here, at 2,500 wheelchairs, would be my break even. Sell 2,499 wheelchairs, I'm at a loss. 2,499 wheelchairs, I'm at a loss. 2,500 wheelchairs, I'm breaking even. If I sell just one more wheelchair, I have a profit. Now profit, that's where you take your revenue minus your cost. My revenue is 600x. My cost is 400x plus 500,000. Sorry, I didn't use different colors this time. I usually do. But here's my revenue. Here's my cost. That's the profit function. Do some math. That negative distributes in. Makes it a negative 400x and a negative 500,000. And then simplifying, we're out of room, but 600x minus 400x is 200x. So my profit function is $200 per wheelchair, but don't forget about that 500,000 you invested in the wheelchair business. So that's my profit function. So now that I have the profit function, if I sell 4,000 wheelchairs, which we already know is a profit, what would the profit be? If I plugged in Anything less than 2,500, this would come out a negative number, which means a loss. But 4,000 is bigger than 2,500, so I know it's going to be a positive number. So I plug in to my profit function. And they said 4,000 wheelchairs, which is X. Do the math. Sorry, this looks like 200. I need to move my time symbol up a little bit. 200 times 4,000 and then minus 500,000. That is 300,000. So if I sell 4,000 wheelchairs, I would have a profit of 300,000. Remember, you could put a K. K means 1,000. 300K. That's what K means. So if I sell 4,000 wheelchairs, I get a profit of 300,000. But I invested 500,000 in this company. That's a pretty big risk to take. So then you have to decide: am I an entrepreneur? Am I a corporation? Am I a limited partnership? Then there's different forms to open up your business in. A limited liability corporation, an LLC. If you start a business as an entrepreneur and it goes under, they won't come after you and your stuff. You are responsible. But if you open it up under like a limited liability corporation, then you're only liable up to a certain extent. So it's also good to know business types. And both have their benefits, both have their weaknesses. If you guys take economics, you'll learn about that. Anyone ever see this before? Economics? No? Here. Short lesson today. So, do you know how to use the revenue and cost functions? And by the way, what I taught you today is it's really not that simple. There are so many variables that aren't even included in that problem. Like, who's making these wheelchairs? Right? How much does what was the 500,000 for? Is there rent for the warehouse? Are there fines? Are there taxes? Do I need to pay for environmental fees? I mean, there's a lot more variables that we're just keeping it simple. Now the IXL is not cost and revenue, but it does have lines that are linear. Revenue was linear, cost was linear, and then finding where they intersect, which would be what we're talking about as break-even point. So the IXL doesn't align exactly with what we're doing, but it does give you practice setting lines equal to each other. Okay. Homework. $925, $926. Good luck. That's all I have for today.